The official INDYCAR app, powered by NTT data, puts the pulse-pounding action of INDYCAR right at your fingertips. Never miss a lap with the latest news, highlights, and live race coverage. Track every move with real-time leaderboards, interactive maps, onboard cameras, and driver radio. Your all-access pass to every race, every moment, every day. Download the official INDYCAR app now.
Well, he shaved his moustache off at the start of the week and the weight saving seemed to do him no harm at all. Louis Foster will start from a first career pole position, but let's take a look at the rest of the XPEL Grand Prix at Road America's starting grid.
I'm Jacob Abel from Louisville, Kentucky.
Stingray Rod, Hayat, Idaho.
I'm Scott Dixon, driving the number 9 PNC Bank Honda from Auckland, New Zealand.
Alexander Rossi, Nevada City, California.
Hi, I'm Kevin Simpson from the Cayman Islands.
Rinus VK, Hoofddorp, the Netherlands.
Connor Daly from Noblesville, Indiana.
Christian Rasmussen, I'm from Copenhagen, Denmark.
Devlin DiFrancesco, Toronto, Ontario.
Santino Ferrucci, Woodbury, Connecticut.
Robert Schwartzman, born in Israel, Tel Aviv.
I'm Colton Herta from Valencia, California.
Marcus Armstrong, Christchurch, New Zealand.
Marcus Eriksson, Kumla, Sweden.
Nolan Siegel, Palo Alto, California.
Felix Rosenquist, Värnamo, Sweden.
Pato Award, Monterrey, Mexico.
Josef Newgarden, Nashville, Tennessee.
I'm Callum Wylo, I'm from Cambridge in the UK.
Will Power, Toowoomba, Queensland, Australia.
I'm David Malukas, grown up in Chicago, Illinois.
Graham Rahal, Columbus, Ohio.
I'm Christian Lundgaard from Vejle, Denmark.
Scott McLaughlin, Christchurch, New Zealand.
I'm Kyle Kirkwood from Jupiter, Florida.
Hello, I'm Alex Palou. I'm from Barcelona, Spain.
Louis Foster, Odium, England.
That is your grid here in Road America. Now, let's go trackside for the command.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome guest of XPEL, Todd Jensen.
Drivers, start your engines!
Josh Jacobs getting after it in the back of the two-seater there. Packers running back. He's had lead blockers in his career, but talk about a view and a hole opening up in front of him. This has got to be exhilarating, especially here, guys, at Road America.
So let's take a look at the Honda track preview, guys, of this incredible circuit.
Guys, absolutely gorgeous. Just over 4 miles here through the rolling hills in northern Wisconsin. 193 miles an hour down to that very, very quick turn 1. We talked about some of the incidents you can see there on the starts earlier. Then it starts that downhill run into turn 3. Important to get a great launch for that long run down to 5.
And you're going downhill to 5, grabbing gears and then hammering the brake pedal. 3.8 G's in line in that brake zone. It really tests the back of your neck from a G-force standpoint. You go through turn 6, through a fast turn 7 kink with a small lift there, heavy brake zone for 8, and then James back to speed zones for the carousel in the kink.
One of my favorite parts of the racetrack, 146 mile an hour minimum speed, 3.4 Gs. These drivers are pulling through the famous carousel, and that launches you down the back straight through the famous and flat out kink. Minimum speed, T-Bell, 176 miles an hour. You climb all the way to 12.
And then we go to the promised land. That's right, Canada corner. Down here, heavy brake zone, 190 top speed, fastest part of the racetrack, 4 Gs of inline deceleration. You complete with turns 13 and maybe the toughest corner on this track, especially with the wind, turn 14. Very tough to get it right, and if you do, you'll get a great run back to start-finish.
As cars roll around the track, why don't we take a closer look at what the drivers are contending with our Dallara cutaway car.
Well, guys, with one of the longest racetracks, we have some of the longest straights, which means downforce and drag are very, very important here. We're looking at the rear wing of the Dallara cutaway car, and this is how the drivers and teams can adjust the rear flap angle. You have it more up, that's going to give you more downforce, but it's also going to have more drag and take away straight line speed.
But there's also some good old American innovation with the gurney flap back there. That little yellow strip at the top, you can adjust size and span across that upper rear wing element. to help maximize downforce and drag. And what I love about this track is this is where fast guys win. You don't luck into a win here. You do it on speed, and that's a beautiful thing on a hot day like today.
Talking to pole sitter Louis Foster earlier on this weekend, he said he'd been trying to finesse his way around this circuit, drive it how he thought it needed to be, precise and on the nose. He said, eventually, I just sent it. Locked up at every corner, went deep at every corner. I was a half a second faster. What did that teach me? I have to hustle the car to get a fast lap. Georgia down on pit lane.
Well, the Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan cars seem to come alive on road courses. And the last time we had a road course on the schedule, the Indy GP, Graham Rahal started second and finished sixth, the best of his season. Today he rolls off sixth with the hopes to keep improving during the race. Rahal told me earlier this morning that he will need to focus on keeping his rear tires under the car deep into a stint. Jack Harvey.
Colton Herter feels like he's starting uncharacteristically far down the grid, especially at Road America. Before this weekend started, of active drivers, he was the highest start and finish. He wasn't happy with his balance in qualifying. They made some changes in the warm-up, and he's excited to move forward in the race. Kevin.
Jack Kyle Kirkwood starts third, going for 3 in a row and is very much in the championship, and this should not be a surprise. The 26-year-old from Florida might have been the most successful American driver ever coming up the ladder. Look at these stats. He won 55 of 87 races and had to win to continue. There was no family money. The teams like Cape Motorsports and Andretti invested in him, found the budget to make sure he could continue, and now he is on the brink of becoming the next American superstar.
Thank you, guys. Just to let you folks know, the temperature is rising all the time. We are currently up at 91 degrees. The average here in the history of this race is 71.9 for this race. So we are already 20 degrees warmer than normal. Track temperature, guys, 127 degrees. The question mark, how long will these soft tires, how long will the hard tires hold on in these conditions?
Now, all the drivers had a chance to do a 30-minute warm-up this morning, but with a 4-mile racetrack, it still doesn't give you enough time to really evaluate things. And James, the track temp was closer to 100 back then. This is uncharted territory for everybody, including the strategists up and down pit lane that have to make the crucial decisions about how long to run each stint, how to stretch things, and where to really play your cards.
But that's why these guys get paid the big bucks. This is the top level. This is the pros. This is where you have to be able to adapt. You have to be flexible, and you have to be able to read the situation in the moment. So we're going to go, and over these first 5-6 laps, really get a sense of who's strong, who's nailed the balance for these conditions, and who's going to struggle all afternoon.
And the rookie, Louis Foster, who is going to start on that soft compound tire, will be the guinea pig for the field. Everybody else behind will be able to watch his lap times and understand when and how the tire falls off on performance.
And of those drivers behind, 3 of them made up the podium last year. All 3 of them were Penske drivers. This has not been a season to Penske's liking so far. No victories for one of the most storied teams in this championship's history. Starting alongside the pole sitter is Alex Palou, hoping to get back to winning ways on the second row of the grid. Kyle Kirkwood, winner of the last 2. He's won on street courses, he's won on ovals. He wants to complete the set by winning on a road course, and what a road course this is, as Louis Foster brings the field through turn 14, up the incredibly steep rise and over the blind crest. They will see the green flag, and when they pass it here at Road America for the NTT INDYCAR Series, we will be racing. And now we go. Green, green, green is the call, and Louis Foster hugs the inside. Scott McLaughlin goes for the outside line down into turn 1, and look at Kirkwood on the move already on the championship leader, Alex Palou.
This is what we talked about, guys. Just because you start up front doesn't mean you always stay there. It's clean through, but Palou is falling all the way down. Now McLaughlin challenging Foster.
7 cars off track as David Malukas loses it and is into the beach, and that will likely leave him there. I seriously doubt he'll be able to get going. And here comes, I think, Alex Palou on Pato Award.
But Foster is having to defend once again from Scott McLaughlin, who is all over the rear wing of the pole sitter. Has a look up the inside, but look at Award on the inside of Kirkwood and on the run up from 5 into the blind at 6.
Palou's going to be under threat here, entering turn 6 as well. He goes defensive. That's Graham Rahal who gets a position now. Your championship leader is falling back. Power's gone around as well.
Everybody knows that Palou wants to protect that championship lead, and they are chewing him up as I think that's Alexander Rossi getting pretty squirrely back there, but great job from the rookie. Louis Foster holding off massive attacks from waste sprinters and champions as the caution comes out from Malukas' stranded car.
And all of that fighting behind him really allowed Foster just to stretch his legs a little bit. But what a great first lap. What a great first 3/4 of the lap. I think Jacob Abel got caught up in the remnants of this as well as they try to get Malukas out of the gravel, get him back out onto the track. But a disappointing start for him after a promising qualifying run had left him in 7th place on the grid. On the run down here, just gets into the back of Pato O'Ward. Welcome back to the XPEL Grand Prix at Road America, live on Fox. We are under caution because David Malukas pretty much took himself out of the equation. It was actually a battle with Christian Lundgaard. Keep your eye on the orange and black car of Lundgaard. That's the McLaren, and the blue and white of David Malukas behind him. Actually, good start from David Malukas, but just had a little bit too much momentum on that run down to 3.
Yeah, Malukas does a good job getting it outside of Graham Rahal there, who was in the second red and white car back, but then just outbrakes himself. Maybe got a little squeezed over and got on the white line with the left sides, but either way, contact in the back of Christian Lundgaard. As we ride on board with Rahal, that's Malukas just to the front, to the left. Watch.
Yeah, just goes in with too much speed. You see the front lock up and he gets into the back of Christian Lundgaard. Kevin, understand there might be some damage.
Well, let's listen to the 7 radio and see what they've been talking about.
Copy. Whoever it was, we definitely took damage. I was forced off the track and walked by Kirkwood. He didn't give me space to get on track.
And there is some damage in the left rear, but Brian Barnhart, his strategist, said it's probably going to raise the center of pressure. They're not going to pit. What's that going to do to the car, guys?
A bunch of drivers are pitting, though, including Scott Dixon, who started down in 25th place. Connor Daly in there as well. So too the 8 car of Stingray Robb and Marcus Armstrong. Well, first one of the guys out there. A decent idea after a couple of laps completed to jump off the tires.
Guys, remember this pit stop. Scott Dixon started 25th, okay? Not someone we had tagged in the pre-race show. Remember this pit stop on lap 3. This could come into play by the end of this thing if we see the number 9 up at the front. The way this race goes, the way the cycles go, as you see the damage on the nose cone of David Malukas there.
I don't know if it's damage or optimized cooling for the hot day for Malukas up on the nose. But yes, you're right. For Scott Dixon, why pit right there and give up track position? Because he's now on the red tire. And listen to him clutch and coast, trying to save precious fuel here, give him the greatest flexibility on strategy later in the day.
So Dixon moving onto those soft tires early doors. How long are we going to see these guys run these today, or is that actually the big question coming
Louis
into this
Foster's
race?
going to tell him, right? There's 4 laps complete right now, you know, 2.5, 3 under caution. So Louis Foster is going to be, like I said, the guinea pig for the entire field. They'll be watching his lap times, and the moment they really start to fall off, teams are going to look to try to seize the opportunity if they're in the pit window.
A reminder on the rules: you can run sets of whatever you want during this race, the soft tire, the hard tire, but everyone has to run a new set of the softs, and for a minimum of 2 laps.
And one of each type.
Yes.
One of each type as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
And it's interesting to see. So those soft tires, the red sidewall, they are softer, more grip. They're going to be better on starts and restarts. We saw Palou start on the hards. That's why part of the reason he fell back, but so did Kirkwood, so did Rahal, and they both got around him as Foster now is going to lead us back to the green.
Did a great job leading us to the start. He drops the anchor now. We are green. The restart line is just after turn 14. You'll see a white line on the track. They can overtake from there. Rear end squirreling around as they get the power down on the rise back up to the hill and down to turn 1.
Pretty big bobble from Louis Foster, and now Scott McLaughlin in the yellow and white XPEL Chevy pops to the outside looking to make a move. It's tough to pull it off, but you can do it if you're brave, and he does.
Goes the long way around and gets it done even before turn in as Palou on the charge and has a look and has the move on willpower.
Great move there from Palou to capitalize with those harder tires, getting around power on the soft.
Go red side.
Just getting some radio there from the 3, the XPEL Chevy.
This is Felix Rosenquist looking to make a move on Josef Newgarden.
As Power has a look to get back past Alex Palou, does it beautiful. And Rosenquist still alongside Newgarden as Lundgaard now on Kyle Kirkwood.
Forceful move from Christian Lundgaard. That's a tough place to just outbrake someone. It's not a huge brake zone, and it's very unsettled as the track flattens at the top.
Developing a reputation for being lungy, but pulling it off as Josef Newgarden looks to lunge on Graham Rahal. Newgarden really charging forward right now.
Sitting on board with the Penske driver, Josef Newgarden, through this long carousel, courtesy of PPG. Such a tough right-hander through the flat-out right-hand kink to bring us onto the narrow part of the track, this fast flat-out section. And Palou all over the back of Power again. They're going to go too wide on the run down to Canada corner.
Palou and Power at it again, side by side. Power on the inside.
Oh! Both of them past Kyle Kirkwood. Brilliant stuff.
That is a full send like I've never seen before in Canada corner. I'm not sure Power planned to pass Kirkwood. He got in so hot.
They got passed. They both got passed by Palou. So net negative for Kirkwood. Break even for Power. But I'm with
Yellow's
you.
out. Oh, big one.
Schwartzman.
That's Robert Schwartzman
Turn
in the
12.
I wonder if he had some help.
This is Canada corner where we saw that incredible double overtake on Kyle Kirkwood. The heaviest braking. Oh, he's just lost it on the braking, hasn't he?
Yeah, that one looked like all on his own. Some rear lock. Overcorrected.
The pole sitter from the Indianapolis 500, the rookie Robert Schwartzman, looks to have lost it under braking, the heaviest braking zone in the entire circuit. And let's take a look at this, side by side on the run down to Canada corner, and both past Kirkwood. Well, opened in 1955, built on 525 acres of Wisconsin farmland. Road America is the longest road course in IndyCar, 4 miles long, 14 turns, some beautiful wood carvings all around the track, and as we found out earlier in the broadcast, some notable delicacies, including my favorite, the cheese curds. Right, let's take a look at that incredible double overtake. I'm not sure quite how intentional it was, but it was absolutely stunning to see this from ahead, from above, from the helicopter.
Yeah, brilliant run from Alex Palou to get to the outside, and Will Power just decides to go full send to defend and ends up accidentally getting way too deep. Fortunately, Kyle Kirkwood watching everything in his mirror. Such a heads-up move from Kirkwood. Watch this. This should have been a crash with 20 other drivers in the field, but Kyle Kirkwood, who's become a master of finishing races, reminds me a lot of Scott Dixon as you see Kirkwood's view of things, and Kirkwood can only probably laugh and say, this is ridiculous. Kevin.
Not exactly laughing. Entertaining for us. Kirkwood was not a big fan.
The was that, Will? Stupid. I literally just had to avoid them. They should give us that position back.
That's all right, bud. Long race here.
I agree with the sentiment, but that is just not how racing works. I mean, Will was absolutely out of control. But look, that's a championship-winning move from Kirkwood. It's avoiding accidents like that. Like you said, very Dixon-esque. That keeps you in the fight. He would have hated to see Palou going by, but it was great.
And listen, if Kirkwood were to close on this championship down the stretch, we'd look back to that moment as potentially a move that delivers his best worst finish of the season. And you know what? It's not that bad with him running right now, still in 6th.
And here's the thing, in IndyCar, running all 4 wheels over that white line like that, you can do that. That's a safe part of the track. You're allowed to use that runoff as much as you wish. So, great move. Whether it was out of necessity or intention. Great stuff down there. Jack, what you got for us?
Yeah, the number 5 of Pato O'Ward, I actually wasn't expecting him to stop. Managed to talk to Nick Schneider, the strategist, and just said, what's the thought process here? And they saw how quickly the soft tyre activated. They want to give Pato every opportunity, and from where he was, they didn't think they could do it purely just on speed, so they're going to roll the dice on strategy. Georgia.
And right now, fairly quiet for rookie and pole sitter Louis Foster. They did say that they know that the Penske's have a higher top-end speed than us, but all words of encouragement to Louis Foster, saying he's doing a great job.
A great job in P2. Now, a bunch of drivers did come in last time around to top up on fuel, including some of the drivers who'd already come in to top up on fuel, just putting themselves into a better position for when we go back to the restart. But one driver who won't be in a great position is the number 18 of, this is Kirkwood, just letting his feelings known to Will Power. But the 18 of Rinus VeeKay overtook before they got to the restart line and has had to move to the back of the field.
You got to think back to Detroit when Will Power snowplowed Kyle Kirkwood through a couple of corners in practice, and what Power must be thinking when Kirkwood, I don't think Power cares at all about anything other than going forward and winning races. He needs to produce a result to keep his glorious IndyCar racing career going. He doesn't have a contract for next year, but if you're Kyle Kirkwood, you're just like, dude, what is going on with this guy? He is a wild man.
Yeah, this conversation between the two of them, it ain't over, T-Bell.
And let's not forget, Will Power picked up and physically pushed Kyle Kirkwood around 3-4 corners in Detroit just a couple of weeks ago. There's previous between these two. Oh, you said that already, didn't you?
Now, in a different kind of way.
Yeah, sorry.
But with your accent and vocabulary, it's amazing.
All right,
so let's watch what happens here with McLaughlin, Foster, and Lundgaard, and Alex Palou. I think Palou is the one with pace right now.
I think you might be right now that those hard tires are up to speed, but you got to give Louis Foster credit. He did well on that last restart. Now he's in the catbird seat because these long straights, they create a big toe that pulls the car behind you up. Can he do to McLaughlin what McLaughlin did to him on that last restart?
And McLaughlin goes in about the same place that Foster did last time around. They get to 14. There's the line at which you can pass. McLaughlin with a tidy exit has a bit of a jump on Foster, who will hope to go with him as they snake down the start-finish stretch. And McLaughlin tries to break the toe.
Newgarden on the outside of Graham Rahal, nearly caught the back of Rahal going slow now. One of the MSR machines, I think that's Rosenquist trying to make it happen as well.
And Foster under big pressure from Lundgaard, who was absolutely on the move at the last restart. The McLaren driver now all over the rear wing of the rookie.
And Alex Palou sitting there in fourth as there's contact with Nolan Siegel and Callum Eilert in turn 3.
That's incredibly close between those two, but Eilert maintains the position on board her courtesy of NTT, and up and past looks like Christian Rasmussen having a look as now Palou goes for a look on Lundgaard.
Oh, Alex Palou got on that braking curb, and now Will Power's going to have a chance to pounce.
Rahal again with a bobble. Rosenquist by on board with the Verizon car. Will Power now. You're looking at the back of Palou through turn 7 here. Remember, on the first lap of a restart, push to pass is not active. That's a boost that gives you about 60 extra horsepower. You get 200 seconds as now we see Ericsson making a move on Rasmussen.
Rasmussen squeezing, and Ericsson can't find a way through. So tight and close as O'Ward gets bobbled over the curbs.
Pato O'Ward, who pitted off strategy there for brand new soft Firestones, looking to put that fresh sticky rubber to good use right now. Again, winning here, it's about pace. As we ride on board thanks to Aero, O'Ward has pace. He looks to the outside, ducks to the inside. Which way is he going to go?
That's a massive pace advantage on Abel.
No power, man, no power.
That's what's so tough around here is O'Ward claims no power coming out of the back of that number 5 machine. But the back straight isn't straight. You kind of weave and you follow the natural curve of the ground here, and it makes it very easy to defend and tough to pull off a move. Push to pass, active now. Lundgaard on the button, trying to get Foster.
He's got a great run. He goes way to the inside.
Foster tries to defend, but there's no way of stopping Christian Lundgaard from advancing into second place. And now Lundgaard will go after the race leader, McLaughlin. He's been aggressive at the start of this race. So a great move from Christian Lundgaard to move up into second. Foster falls down to third with Palou all up in his mirrors.
Mission Food onboards Christian Lundgaard. That guy had such a strong start to the season. 3 podiums in the first 4 races. Hasn't been back in the top 5 since, Kev. He's looking to try to get back on the podium and collect some hardware.
Saw him get hit at the start. He was concerned about the car. During the yellow, he said it's all good. And also of note, he's got another set of new softs. He and Scott McLaughlin are the only ones up front that have a pair of softs in that situation that used yesterday, along with others that are a little farther back.
Siegel with a tidy move on Christian Rasmussen to take that position from him and move up to 12th. We sit on board with Christian Lundgaard looking back at Louis Foster, who is still holding on in the top 3 on those soft tires.
Since the race start, Christian Rasmussen has moved up so many spots, which is what we saw him doing at Gateway last time out, en route to his first podium. So keep an eye out on the young Dane.
So it's McLaughlin from Foster McLaughlin from Lundgaard from Foster, from Palou in P4, and Will Power behind him, then Kirkwood.
So I'm going to start watching lap times here. Scotty Mack did a 48.5 on his last lap, and then I'll be tracking lap times of Alex Palou, who's on that harder tire. McLaughlin comes across the line, goes 48.2, Lundgaard 47.9, and Alex Palou 48.1. So we're going to get to a crossover point, perhaps, where the black tire is stronger towards the end of this first stint for the leaders.
Palou not quite close enough to make the move on Louis Foster, but it's coming. You just sense it's coming in that red and white Solo Cup Honda. New livery for this weekend for the championship leader, shaping him up.
Palou on the button. Foster tries to defend, but he might have enough speed to clear him by the brake zone. It's a game of chicken into 5.
He crosses him up. If he can get a nose to the inside, he can't. Foster defends very cleverly. That's an important place.
Oh, that's a big one for Stingray, Rob.
Boom, the 77 Goodhart Chevy into the tires. Concrete wall first. You see the driver moving in the cockpit.
I'm so sorry, guys. What are we doing here?
Down in turn 5. One of the fastest parts of the racetrack.
I don't know what that was.
Be interesting to see what led up to that. I'm imagining contact with somebody.
He's apologizing to the team.
He was in a fight with Scott Dixon and Devlin DiFrancesco at the time that it took place. have a look on board, courtesy of Goodhart's.
Oh, got some rear locking. Oh, just a tremendous amount of impact.
I wonder if Malukas was saving a little fuel and he got surprised there. It's a little bit like what happened with, oh, it wasn't Malukas, that was Marcus Armstrong. I wonder if it's a bit like what happened with Malukas on the start, losing the back of the car. It's an awfully fast place to lose control, almost 190 miles an hour as we take another look.
Yeah, you might be right. Maybe Malukas lifted a little earlier than Stingray was expecting, and the combination of turning to avoid the 4 while on the brakes can upset the back of the car.
I think it was Armstrong.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Armstrong, yeah. I say, yeah.
So, and remember what we learned on Friday in practice is the drivers were manually trying to also recharge hybrid on the straight before the brake zone into that little cresting moment. But either way, something horribly mistimed in the exchange there, and good to see Stingray able to climb out.
So back under caution here at Road America. It has been a frantic start to the XPEL Grand Prix. Pit road is open, but with only 11 laps gone, do we think it is too early to make your first stop, to jump off those softs in particular?
It is really tough. You really want to get to lap 14 to be able to make it, but I think you'll see some gamblers. Guys, we've had, what, 3 cautions already? This is historically not a high caution race, and we're only 11 laps in, so that's the gamble you start to take is, hey, guys are driving crazy. If we're short on gas, maybe we'll get lucky based on how things are trending.
But at the same time, we're lap 11. 6 of those have been under caution already. So I'd be surprised if we saw the leaders coming in. Certainly some drivers maybe wanting to go off strategy, try to do something different than the cars in front could do it.
Well, you're already saving fuel and saving tires under these cautions.
And all this does is it opens up your windows later in the race. But I mean, you know, T-Bell, you talk about managing the hybrid system, managing the tools in the car. You got to remember, these race cars are so complex. You're driving them on the absolute limit, almost 200 miles an hour, while managing all these different things. It's like trying to juggle flaming chainsaws while doing your taxes at 200 miles an hour. It's so complicated.
With a phone call with your accountant going on at the same time, because your strategist is in your ear, your spotter might be in your ear with information. It is sensory overload at times.
And now the race on pit lane.
So Power's coming in, McLaughlin's coming in, Palou's going to come in, so too Herter. Taking a look at all the crews down there. So the leader will be in next time around. That's the answer to the question right there.
This is why I don't call strategy, guys. This is why I'm up here with you two.
McLaughlin started on fresh softs. Palou started on the primary. So it doesn't seem to matter what tire you started on. Take the opportunity now.
And 11 laps is not a full stint on fuel, and James, as you pointed out, a lot of laps on caution. What does that mean for this pit stop? It is not a full fill. The tanks probably have a third of the fuel already in them. That puts a huge premium on pit stop performance. Where does that advantage fall? Team Penske. So look for McLaughlin, Power, and Josef Newgarden to maybe make some hay. McLaughlin, of course, wants to hold on to the lead.
And look at this, almost everybody in. And who will lead when they all come out? It's one of the guys who stopped first, stopped earliest, started 25th, Scott Dixon. Georgia, down to you.
Well, Louis Foster started first in the 3rd position by the time he makes it to his crew. They asked if he wanted any front wing. He said no, but they are going to change to the primary black tires. Jack Harvey.
Scotty Mack is about to hit his marks here. They're getting a set of the hard tyre, brand new hard tyres ready. No front wing change here for Scotty either. Didn't look like a super short fill. Not a clean getaway. Kevin.
Christian Lundgaard also pitted from 2nd. Kyle Kirkwood did from 6th as well. Solid stops. Lundgaard went to a set of the hards. Remember, he's still got another sticker set to use later on.
And critically in all of this, Lundgaard has got out ahead of Scott McLaughlin. There is Lundgaard, there is McLaughlin, behind him Power and Newgarden. Penske into the ascendancy, but Lundgaard ahead of them all.
We love Road America.
You get to wake up to the sound of cars on the track.
Inside of 3 is where it's at.
Go Will!
We'll give him a quick little mullet.
We love Road America! There's nothing like it in the world.
I'd agree with that sentiment. Nothing like this race circuit on Earth. It is absolutely incredible. Welcome back to the NTT IndyCar Series live from Road America on Fox. Scott Dixon leads from Pato O'Ward, Alexander Rossi, and Kiffin Simpson. How's that happened? Because those guys were the first to stop under caution. Now everybody has stopped under the most recent caution. And within those stops, Christian Lundgaard managed to get ahead of the Penske trio of McLaughlin, Power, and Newgarden. They now sit Lundgaard 9th, McLaughlin 10th, then Power, Newgarden 11th and 12th. Kirkwood sits 13th with Palou just behind him in 14th. But it is Scott Dixon who leads on the soft tire.
Scott Dixon starting way out of place because of a penalty in qualifying, so this car is fast. It's not that he deserved to start there.
But my calculator in the head is kind of melting down, like, okay, how's he going to make this work?
It's Dixon. He'll make it work.
I mean, somehow they'll try to find a way here, but this guy's done it so many times before. One thing's for sure, it will be Dixon leading the field. And Pato O'Ward's looked awfully aggressive after stopping early as well.
The most experienced driver in the NTT IndyCar Series, Scott Dixon. It's his 411th race start today, and he leads the field back to green. And already the McLaren of Lundgaard having a look and having a pop at the top of your screen as Kiffin Simpson goes to make the move on Alexander Rossi. And Rossi defends to the inside, but look at Lundgaard coming and having a look at VK.
VK also looking very aggressive in terms of defensive moves on Lundgaard.
Now he gets up, pops up into 3.
Oh,
lovely.
McLaughlin.
Can McLaughlin go with him? He doesn't want to lose touch with the number 7 of Christian Lundgaard. Now he's right on his gearbox. He's boxed in, nowhere to go, dropping wheels in the dirt.
Scott McLaughlin, 2 wheels on the grass, drops back, and VK should be able to take that position back again as Newgarden comes under pressure from Palou, who has to duck out of it.
This is where it's so crucial as the 3 of McLaughlin has to go running through the dirt. VK goes by, now side by side with Power. When you're restarting in the middle, you were at the front of the field, now you're in the thick of it all. You've got to be so careful, but also so aggressive. And here comes Power looking at another lunge.
This could give a chance for Christian Lundgaard to get some breathing room on that strategy where Lundgaard now leads McLaughlin and Power right here. Boy, Team Penske did a great job on that round of pit stops to get Power forward. Also, Josef Newgarden.
And teamwork in the NTT IndyCar Series, unlike in many other championships.
Oh,
big!
180 miles an hour off for Power as Newgarden gets by, and there's more contact further back with Kirkwood.
Kirkwood having a look up the inside of Will Power, shows him his elbows and says, that's for last time.
How about that, Will Power?
Here's the problem, guys. That was small time thinking because Palou got around the 27. That's the guy he needs to beat. Power deserved that run off there. Kirkwood getting his revenge, but it's a net loss for Kirkwood because now Palou's back in front.
But I think Kyle Kirkwood said, I don't want any part of this guy anymore. If I push him wide, he'll lose positions. Colton Herta now charging forward on Louis Foster.
And Rosenqvist looking to go with him, sitting on board, courtesy of Gainbridge, up on the inside at 1 of Louis Foster, and Foster tucks back in ahead of Rosenqvist.
Herta on those softer tires, Foster on the harder tires, so it makes sense. He's got that pace advantage on the first lap of this restart. Push to pass, now active. A lot of drivers burning the button right now, down to 5.
Foster looking to make a move back past Herta as we ride on boards with Rosenqvist, courtesy of SiriusXM. And you know what? VK and McLaughlin still going at it.
How about VK just mixing it up here with Lundgaard and McLaughlin?
Looks totally comfortable, elbows out, fighting some of the very best. As I think McLaughlin was looking to make a move now on VK. This on board with Christian Lundgaard thanks to Mission Foods as he grabs gears up past 130 miles an hour through the carousel.
When you've got cars in front of you that close, like Lundgaard has in the wake of Connor Daly, you lose so much downforce, so much grip in the cars. You got to manage the throttle, manage the tires a little bit more. Lundgaard doing a great job kind of balancing it there. action all the way through the field right now.
And this is what stopping early under that early caution has done for these drivers. Dixon qualified 25th, VK qualified down in 22nd. They're not out of position and trying to stop the leaders from coming through on them. This is the legitimate fight now for the race win, with the alternate strategy being employed by these guys here. Georgia down on pit lane with Stingray Rob.
And Stingray has been cleared from the IndyCar medical unit. Is there anything differently you felt like you could have done there?
I mean, I might have to take a good look at it, go watch the replay. I think we're on alternates, we're charging hard. We didn't have to do a fuel save from where we were in the race to the end. So I saw Marcus was on blacks, and I don't know if he was fuel saving or not, but we had a great run out of turn 3, and I was sending him a pass, and I don't know. I don't know what I needed to do there. So I'll go back and take a look, and hopefully I can learn something, but that's not a good way to have our day end up. So I think that everyone's being aggressive today, and that's just how it's going to be.
Well, on the replay, I'm not exactly convinced what Marcus Armstrong really did there, but he'll go back, take a look at it, and as he says, he will learn from it. Dixon leads by less than a second from Pato O'Ward. Alex Rossi is third, then it's Simpson, Malukas, and Daly, your top 6.
So that top 6 is sort of on, what I call strategy B at this point. Lundgaard sort of the leader on a backup strategy, just hitting at different times off sequence from one another.
Yeah, I'd say Lundgaard's on the primary strategy along with McLaughlin, because these two guys now side by side. It's Palou and Newgarden. Newgarden with the advantage.
Just taking a look back at Kirkwood repaying Will Power for that move earlier in the race.
And up top, McLaughlin is trying to get his way through Jacob Abel, and Alex Palou is all over the back of Josef Newgarden, running up the sweepers and back to turn 14. Palou wants to get past Newgarden and is all over his rear wing once again. This is a track on which Penske, though, have been so strong in history. Newgarden 2 wins to his name, Palou 2 wins to his name, has the inside line, has the run. Will Abel get in the way? You know what? Newgarden bumps out and gets ahead and holds that position, but now Palou to the inside, little puff of grass.
Wow, that's aggression from Palou. I didn't expect, James. That was a dicey move, 3 wide to the inside as we take a look back at the two drivers battling, Newgarden and Palou. This from the XPEL Chevy of McLaughlin. Now the PPG car of Newgarden watching Palou. Palou's looked so strong on the hard compound tire today.
He really has, and he's being aggressive, but he's still being methodical. He's already been in 4 situations that could have ended terribly for him, and he's come out the other side. If anything, he's picking up positions from other drivers being aggressive, being rowdy, and creating opportunities for him. So he's being very heads up, but he knows he's got to have a good result here and kind of get that points train going down the track in the right direction. After average of 16.5 in the last 2 races, that's been his finishing position after winning 5 of the first 6.
Herter gunning for Will Power. Will Power, though, has been on the radio.
To be a penalty for Kirkwood. Banged me off the track. Working on that.
Yeah.
These two really don't like each other right now.
Cool story, Will.
Yeah.
If we're going to play that game, then you're getting one too for earlier.
And maybe at Detroit as well in practice.
Yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Let it go. Let's go racing.
Yeah.
It's still anyone's race here at Road America. Dixon leads on one strategy, Lundgaard leads on the other, and as always in the NTT IndyCar Series, it couldn't be closer. We'll be back to Road America. The road to 2026 continues tonight with the Gold Cup as the Stars and Stripes face off against Haiti. No easy path, no second chances. Coverage begins tonight at 6 Eastern on Fox. Now, while we were away, Alex Palou put the moves on Scott McLaughlin. Absolutely wonderful move. We saw, though, earlier than that, Josef Newgarden and his teammate McLaughlin going wheel to wheel, side by side. And Josef making it just a little bit too wide. A bit of fun and a bit of damage.
And this is what set Palou up to make that move. He got Josef here and then was right on the gearbox of the 3. But this is how it all started. Josef just way long on the brakes. Scott crossing him up.
Yeah, Newgarden has to go Baja style back onto the track, and it just hands Alex Palou an easy position as we get another look at the teammates battling. And then later on, going into Canada corner, Palou with a brilliantly executed move.
And this is what I'm saying, guys. Palou's just picking up spots from other drivers being too aggressive and not executing passes. It's a brilliant move from him, as now we see Newgarden has gotten around McLaughlin. He's got the tire advantage right now because Newgarden's on those softs, McLaughlin's on the hards.
And I believe Palou just got around Rinus VK as well, as up front, Scott Dixon working a special strategy. Kev, what do you know?
So he obviously pitted earlier than those that just came in, led by Christian Lundgaard in 7th on a lap 11. Remember, from the back, he started 25th. He came in on lap 2, we think around 22 or 23, so not far away. So that's not good enough. He's going to need caution to be able to get it done, and one more stop after that. The rest are hoping to get to about 27 or so, and they may be able to get it done on 2 more stops and have a better opportunity than Dixon.
Fascinating stuff, Kev. As we were saying earlier, watching the number 2, the 3, and the 12 go wheel to wheel, you may be watching and asking, well, they're teammates. How are they being so aggressive with each other? In IndyCar, yes, you can be teammates. You may be driving for the team, but you have your own strategist. You have your own pit crew. Everything you do, essentially, even though you race for the team, is of an individual nature. You are driving for yourself, not just for your team. Great to see the wheel-by-wheel as Pato O'Ward jumps in from P2 of this race.
Interesting, he ducked in first, considering he had pit later than Dixon, so Dixon really making that fuel work.
He is, but he's kind of in no man's zone as the Aero team comes to the pits to throw tires and fuel for Dixon. He's got to make it to lap 27, I think, on this stint to be able to make it the rest of the way with just one more stop. Let's see if he can.
Even for Dixon, that's going to be tough. Jack Harvey down there at Pato O'Ward's pit stand.
Yeah, I managed to speak to the strategist again, and he said that Pato was really happy with the car. They're not sure if that last yellow is advantageous or not, but the key message was just push.
Okay, now I don't feel so bad because even the strategists on pit lane don't know if that yellow is advantageous or not yet. That's what's so fun about IndyCar racing, is anything can change. and it's always up in the air.
Talk about anything changing. Louis Foster dropping now behind Nolan Siegel. A tough day for him, as up on the inside of Felix Rosenqvist goes Santino Ferrucci. Been a pretty quiet day for Santino Ferrucci so far, but he's up to 17th.
And if you recognize the paint scheme being a little different this time for Santino Ferrucci, it's because longtime supporter Marlene Sexton passed away. Team tells me one of the most generous people they've ever encountered in all their years of racing. That is a tribute paint scheme for Marlene Sexton, a sponsor, longtime sponsor of the team, also an IMS Museum board member. On board here with Rosenqvist, thanks to Sirius XM. See if he can stay flat in the kink with traffic ahead.
Just a little breathe of it. Call that driver flat. Basically flat.
Looked floaty underneath him as well as he turned it in.
A winner here in the past. Felix Rosenqvist, his one career win came here back in 2020.
Oh, and Dixon does jump in from lap 21 from the lead of the race, and Rossi will go with him.
This is no man's land on strategy right now. Would need a lot of caution for things to work out for Dixon, but they started at the back, so why not gamble?
That's exactly the case, and what they do have as an advantage is they're putting on another new set of softs. They have one more to go, but they're going to need yellow to be able to make this work out, Jack.
Yeah, Josef Newgarden, I think, coming in here for an unexpected stop. Maybe he was reporting that he was feeling something wrong with those tires. Maybe there was a small leak. He's going to put on a set of the brand new hard tire compounds. Otherwise, I feel like he's progressed very well through the race. He's heading back down pit lane.
That's a desperately early stop for Newgarden.
Yeah, it really is. That puts him also in no man's land, along with David Malukas pitting right now. So how long can Palou hang on? Kiffin Simpson becomes the leader, but he also last pitted on lap 5 and should be coming in maybe even this lap.
So Kiffin Simpson out and stretching his legs. His teammate Alex Palou behind him. Simpson will, I would assume, come in and pit this lap. He's on a similar strategy to his teammate Scott Dixon.
I saw these two at ice cream last night, and I thought to myself, you know, Kiffin's smart. Shadow your 3-time champion teammate who's crushing it. Learn everything you can.
That's Connor Daly in the 76.
It's not been a good day for Connor Daly as he goes skidding off into the gravel trap in turn 5. And he is stuck. And what does that mean caution-wise? That's what it means, full course caution.
And this benefits the guys that just pit, as we see what happened there, just unable to slow the car down.
That was a bit Will Power-ish in terms of the move he put on Kirkwood earlier. In this case, Connor had a gravel trap to meet him, and there's just no way to get unstuck.
So Daly in the barriers, and we are back under caution at Road America.
Yeah, there may be a little bit of a penalty there, honestly, because what happened there is the safety crew told him.
Just when you thought you'd seen it all in motor racing, a car has developed a tail. Welcome back to the XPEL Grand Prix at Road America, live on Fox. That is Connor Daly. The amazing AMR safety crew were able to get Connor out of the gravel trap. Connor didn't realize that they hadn't disconnected the tow rope, and he's made it back out on track. Couldn't come into the pits as the pits were closed, despite the fact he had damage. Now the pits are open. Now everyone's in, Jack.
Yeah, the number 10 of Palou's pitted already. He's taken off the red soft tyre, gone to the hard, brand new compound. This feels just like a classic Alex Palou drive right now.
McLaughlin serviced and gone with 100% renewable Shell fuel. Palou's out at the lead. Rahal is out ahead of Power, ahead of McLaughlin. There is Kiffin Simpson, then it's Herter, then it's VK, and behind them looks like Nolan Siegel.
How about the Rahal Letterman Lanigan pit stop for Graham Rahal? That was pretty cool.
Right on board with him, courtesy of Hendrickson.
I mean, they're up, what, 6 spots with
Great
that
job.
stop? That was brilliant for a team that has showed so much pace this weekend, coming off of 2 very difficult races in Detroit and St. Louis. And now Graham Rahal at a track where he's lived his entire summer, all of his life it seems. This kid's been here so many times for so many years. His father raced here at Road America all through the 80s. And now Rahal with a chance to get on that lead strategy with the leaders.
Kevin, why did Christian Lundgaard stay out?
Well, there was a debate by quite a few. Some had tires over the wall, took them back at the last moment, because coming in now doesn't get you home automatically on one more stop. You're going to need more caution to do that. So what they're hoping for at this point, Christian Lundgaard, Kyle Kirkwood, Felix Rosenqvist, is that it stays green the rest of the time and everybody needs 2 more stops or something else very weird happening.
Yeah, but Christian Lundgaard here is going to have to stop after maybe 2 laps of the restart as well. And if he has to do that on green, he'll go all the way to the back of this field. So things are very mixed strategy-wise. We'll have to see how it plays out as we get closer to the final stop of the race.
You say we need something weird, it feels like a day for the weird. It really does. Lundgaard leads from Kirkwood and Rosenqvist, and Louis Foster, our pole sitter, is back up for 4th from Armstrong, Eilert, and Dixon, who of course stopped very early on and put himself onto that alternate strategy. Really, it's only the top 6 now who find themselves in a position where, if they stretch it to 27, could do this with 1 more stop. Lundgaard leads the field. Kirkwood behind him, going for 3 wins in a row, and Cridley to complete the roster of wins on all 3 types of circuit. Green, green, green through the final corner and up the straight once again. Lundgaard leads the field and Kirkwood goes with him, has a great run out of 14, tucked up in his slipstream on the run down to turn 1. Lundgaard goes to defend, but Kirkwood will want to make the move immediately on the restart, and Lundgaard knows it. Kirkwood trying to go the long way round at turn 1. Oh, that's lovely from Carl Kirkwood, but he goes wide. Can he keep the lead that he's only just taken as Lundgaard is 2 wheels on the grass, but inside and makes it back through? Wonderful side-by-side racing between these 2.
Well, surprised Kirkwood went that wide on the exit. I didn't realize he was so committed. He looked like he was headed for Sheboygan, as now Kirkwood has a run coming back on Lundgaard as they come to turn 5.
Got it done on the outside of 1. Not sure he's going to be able to get it done on the outside of turn 5. A little trickier there as we see some more side-by-side action further back in the field. Everyone playing nice as Rossi now has to defend against a Ward, and behind chaos.
Mayhem behind. Colton Herter involved in that, so too Marcus Ericsson.
And is that Rahal? Rahal's falling way back. What happened to Graham after that brilliant pit stop? They made up so many places. The Hendrickson machine has fallen back.
Josef Newgarden putting moves on again. This time on David Malukas. As ahead of him now is the car, I think, of O'Ward. But there is your race leader. Lundgaard from Kirkwood, from Rosenqvist, from Foster. Dixon coming for Callum Eilert. So this is a look at the mess that we just saw at the rear of the field.
Rinus VK into the back of Graham Rahal. Colton Herta forced to go wide to avoid the accident. Graham is going to be furious about that, and it probably will lead to a penalty for Rinus VeeKay as we ride on board. Started with Graham Rahal getting pinched and crossed up and then having to defend.
Power comes through. Simpson goes past. So too Scott McLaughlin.
And right here in the brake zone, he's going to get a shove from Rinus VeeKay. Watch this.
Oh, you just hear the engine almost die because the rear tires lifted off the ground.
And there's the replay from Colton Herta.
I'm going to just lift off the throttle, nowhere to go. A lot of momentum, but no space to put that number 26. And then once Graham gets hit, nothing Colton can do. Forced out wide. And that's an uncomfortable ride getting back on the track there.
Oh, Rossi having a look at Dixon.
Oh boy, that was close. Allow the contact to take Dixon out.
These the leaders on the alternate strategy. Rossi having got ahead of O'Ward on those stops, but Newgarden finds a way past the two-time champion.
Yeah, that slow run through 6, let Newgarden close up and make the run down into turn 8.
The battle mid-pack has been insane today. It's just send after send after send, and drivers, for the most part, leaving room.
And now Rosenquist looking to make a move there on Connor Daly. He's a lap down.
He has got rid of the tow rope from the back of his car now, replaced that front wing, but Daly going a lap down. We ride on board with Rosenquist courtesy of SiriusXM. Lundgaard still leads to the tune of 1.1 seconds from Carl Kirkwood. Newgarden up 12 spots since the restart.
Kirkwood's going to be kicking himself for not making that turn 1 pass stick. That clean air being up front would have been so nice right now. But now Lundgaard has that advantage, and he's just sort of controlling the pace.
They've got to stop here soon, Lundgaard and Kirkwood. Rosenquist, all the drivers that last pit on lap 11, there have been cautions, and Newgarden continued to battle with Rossi.
Newgarden's won here twice, Rossi's won here once. Loves this track. And they're still going toe-to-toe as Herta comes under pressure from Rasmussen. Yes. Pato O'Ward back in. Feels a little off strategy as Rossi and Newgarden again go wheel to wheel and again have to take to the rumble strips on the exit of 5, and Malukas wants in and will take that advantage from Rossi and tucks up on the inside at 6.
Rossi tries to hang it around the outside of 6. Malukas gets the spot, and now that allows the 10 of Palou to get up to the gearbox of Rossi. He's having to defend now into turn 8. It is so frantic and manic in the mid-pack right now. This is great racing, guys.
Palou, who pitted under caution. The question mark is, how far can Lundgaard and Kirkwood, Rosenquist and Foster actually stretch this thing? Can they do it to the point of 27 to go? Can they make one more stop work? And can the guys who stopped a little early, will they get the caution that they need to make their strategy work?
Let's take a look back at Rossi and Newgarden. Wow, that was tight. Newgarden breaks deep, forces Rossi wide, and then the two of them, off-road acceleration battle there to try to get the speed up the hill.
Rossi, a former winner here, been struggling all weekend long, made some big changes to the car overnight in warm-up. Thought he was in a much better place as we see one of the McLarens is in, Kev.
It's Christian Lundgaard, so he does get to 27. Felix Rosenquist is also going to peel in right in front of him from 3rd. So I think these two cars can get it done on one more stop. What they're hoping for is it stays green the rest of the way, and everyone else might have to stop one more. Kirkwood should be in the next lap.
We'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, about 14 laps max run on a stint, maybe 15 if you're really stretching it. So 28 to go, should be in the window to make it on one more. But like Kevin said, we'll have to see what Dixon, Newgarden, some of the guys that opted to stop on that last caution, how do they play the strategy here?
So Foster's out ahead of O'Ward, who had stopped on the lap before, but O'Ward is on the soft tire. And again, it's teammate versus teammate as McLaughlin looms large in the mirrors of willpower. Looking back then from the 12 car, courtesy of Verizon. And this is what is great about this series. Every lap, full push, full send. No fuel saving right now.
Not at all. Haven't seen any evidence of that. It is a fast guys win racetrack, and I love it for that as Power continues to hold a gap as he spins.
Will Power just overcooks it on the exit of Canada on the run up the hill. He's had more incidents at that corner today than anybody, most of them with Kyle Kirkwood. That one all on his own.
No contact, so the car should be okay. I didn't see anything that would suggest he's going to have any damage. So pretty big loss there, but not as much as if he would have clobbered the inside wall.
Kirkwood is in. Let's see how this stop brings him out and where it brings him out critically in relation to Lundgaard. Kevin.
And it gives him a little bit more advantages because he went one lap longer than those on that same strategy. He's going to a set of used softs for this round. Kirkwood is out.
Okay, here we go. Kirkwood blasts away from his spot. Where is Lundgaard? We keep an eye on the right, and he is coming. Lundgaard will maintain the advantage. What's Rosenqvist got? Rosenqvist files in behind. Kirkwood gets out between.
But Rosenqvist on hot tires. Kirkwood still got to get those Firestones up to temperature. He's going to be massively vulnerable down into turn 5 here. If Rosie gets a good launch off of 3 on the push to pass, both drivers, no doubt, there's going to be a defense move here.
Rosenqvist lining him up. It's on the run down into one of the hardest braking zones on the lap. Around the outside and late on the brakes for Rosenqvist. That is a very, very nice move.
Tidy move from Rosenqvist. Just enough to clear the 27 going into 5. And now he can go be released to try to chase down Christian Lundgaard.
It'll take about another half a lap for Kyle Kirkwood's pressures to fully come up. But if he can hang in the tow with Rosenqvist, this could be our podium contenders right here on this strategy. Lundgaard, Rosenqvist, and Kirkwood.
Beautiful racing at a beautiful track. Will Power's had an eventful day so far, spinning but continuing. We're back, and for the second race in a row, it looks like Josef Newgarden's day is done. This one entirely self-inflicted. Turn 14 has been catching people out all the way through this weekend, but here on board the car, he seems to have a bit of an issue, just raising his hand out of the car.
Yeah, just to cool himself down, but this is just flat losing it wide in turn 14. That left rear dropping off that paved exit section. And I thought he would be okay until he got into the tires there and hit quite a bit harder than expected. A lot of water sitting over there too, but the left rear, broken toe link, broken rear wing.
Suspension completely gone, as we saw from the onboard.
We talked about how turn 14 had been a challenge all weekend long, and this was one of the things we've seen. You get wide, the car sometimes bottoms out over the curb, and if you're already kind of catching a bit of a loose moment, it could just send it around, and unfortunately went all the way to the wall. The 2 crew trying to go at it, trying to replace the damaged suspension. And you just look at some of the issues that Newgarden has had. Seatbelt in Long Beach, fuel pump on the way to a strong result at Indy, leading in St. Louis, collected in Foster's crash, just going from bad to worse.
If he retires from the race, it'll be his 5th DNF in the last 12 races.
Wow.
His worst stretch with Penske, and his worst stretch since 2014. But this was a weekend when it could have all come back Penske's way. They looked fast, they locked out the podium this time last year. We've seen Power spin under his own steam. Newgarden now spin under his own steam. Penske's season, well, it doesn't go from bad to worse. It stays as bad as it has been. A truly horrible season for Penske. Pits open, drivers coming in as Newgarden sits and waits and hopes they will be able to fix him. Amongst them, Malukas. But Christian Lundgaard, who got out ahead in his battle for his part of the racetrack and on his strategy. Kevin, what can you tell us about how Lundgaard's feeling right now?
Well, remember when I said he needs it to stay green the rest of the way? Let's see what the team thinks after this caution that just came out.
How are we looking at this race?
Caution didn't help there, but I think we're going to be okay on this. There's a lot of strategies in play. You're currently P16. Pits are open. We stay out. Stay out.
So they needed it to stay green. This helps others, especially those that stopped at 23, led by Alex Palou. I think they're going to get it done on one more stop. And Dixon and Rossi now have a chance, but they might need one more caution. I don't think they're pitting here.
And listen to the coast of Scott Dixon. As always, looking after his fuel. The master, the absolute master.
Yeah, that would suggest that Scott Dixon not planning to come in, as you said there, Kevin.
And that it's still marginal on what they're trying to accomplish here. But certainly this helps those drivers. It hurts the, like you say, the 7 and the 27, the cars that were on that program. Georgia, what's happening in pit lane?
Well, I want to keep an eye on Santino Ferrucci. He started 18th up to 6th right now. They're going to have to pit one more time, but the thing that makes him stand out is he has a brand new set of red tires. So they are going to pit one time, but after that, they're going to put those red tires on there. This has to be a good pit stop for them, though they've had good pit stops previously, but Santino stalled the last time they came in. So this has to be good. They're going to put those red tires on and full push to the end.
Fascinating stuff. Wow. As always, strategies converging. In the final stanza of the race, we're a long way from that yet. 24 laps remain.
Going back to green now.
Power tempers the pace, controls the field. Will launch now with Alexander Rossi and Alex Palou behind him. But it's Dixon again who takes us back to green, and a much better start for him this time. Rossi with Palou all over him.
Not what you want to see in your rear view mirror. Defending champion and championship leader Palou, but he's getting it done. Here we go. That's Ferrucci making a huge move there on Kiffin Simpson.
That was brave. Big move from Ferrucci at turn 1. As Kirkwood coming under pressure. Oh, it's Ericsson, my apologies. From Lundgaard. And Lundgaard is under pressure from Rosenqvist. Keep your eyes on the back of the field. The orange and black car ducks out to get up on the inside of Ericsson. Rosenqvist will hope to go with him.
On board with Christian Lundgaard. So this is the alternate strategy that Lundgaard now finds himself leading. Drivers that still are going to make one more stop here as Louis Foster gets pushed off wide. But Lundgaard is right in the middle where all the action's been, James, and you have to try to keep your race car clean. Look at Pato O'Ward.
And how quickly, as strategy A, the optimum strategy, becomes strategy B, and potentially the not-so-easy strategy here today. Dixon leads from Rossi to the tune of almost a second.
Guys, I just love how this track is racing today. Even when someone gets a good lunge up the inside into 1, into 5, into 8, you can roll the outside. You can go side by side and still carry that momentum, make it a proper battle. And we're seeing it in every corner of this racetrack, up and down the field. This guy right here, Scott McLaughlin, sitting in a great position. He had a bit of a tire advantage coming into this race with 2 new sets. One of the only guys in the top 6 that had that.
I still don't know how all these guys, Dixon, Rossi, Palou, McLaughlin, Ferrucci, how are they going to make it to 14 laps to go? They have another 8 to run here. That would be incredible mileage if it stays green. I still think Lundgaard's probably in pretty good shape.
Dude, that was a great move from Graham Rahal just there around the outside of Colton Herta into turn 1. Graham is racy today. Lost all those positions down there in turn 5 on that restart, but he is having a heck of a drive right now.
And the details on the left tell you the story. They need 8 laps until their next stop, but they've already been out for 11 or 13. Can they make it work? We are back, and there has been contact. That is Christian Lundgaard We also saw Carl Kirkwood going off as well. I do not know what has happened because it was behind the trees, but that is huge for how this race ultimately plays out.
These two were running.
Oh, it's with Herta. So Herta side by side with Lundgaard. There's no contact. Lundgaard just gets over the bumps, lights it up, and loses it on the way up the hill, and that's what caused Kirkwood to go off to avoid him.
On board here with Colton Herta.
He just used it too much.
Christian Lundgaard just hit a massive bump out so wide on the runoff there. As we're right on board with the 7, we should be able to hear a pretty big hit in the runoff. Let's listen.
Yeah, similar to the Newgarden situation, so lucky to not get collected by another car there. Nice and late on the brakes, like you say, no contact, and then as he gets on the gas, right as the car was bottoming out, there's just nothing you can do.
Tanked it, cased it back there, spins up the rears, got into that slapper.
And without the yellow coming out, he's just lost so much time.
Totally.
And he was one of the leaders of that strategy.
Well,
on that strategy, it now puts Felix Rosenqvist very much to the fore, the man who won his first race here.
First and only. The Sirius XM on board with Rosenqvist now for MSR.
So guys, huge championship implications because Alex Palou's on one strategy, Kyle Kirkwood on the other, along with Pato O'Ward. Based on how this plays out, it could swing heavily to one end or the other from the championship because, of course, Palou leads, Kirkwood second in points as they run right now, Pato O'Ward third, but those top 3 in points, again, split on strategy.
So Dixon needs what? About another 3 laps to make it one stop to the end?
More like 4 or 5.
Okay. Let's take a look on board with Kyle Kirkwood as the man he was battling with for much of the day ahead of us. Lundgaard loses it, evasive action and through for Kyle Kirkwood.
Could have been a big shunt for Kyle Kirkwood getting off there in the grass. He got concrete just to the left, but luckily no rain overnight. The grass dry enough to produce some grip as Ferrucci and McLaughlin are going at it.
Ferrucci doing a stellar job to hold McLaughlin. Ferrucci and McLaughlin on an identical strategy. They both pitted on the same lap, the same as Palou ahead of them. They can probably last another 2 laps in comparison to Dixon and Rossi out ahead.
And while Georgia reported earlier, Ferrucci, I believe, has that sticker set of reds, as this is an earlier incident with Christian Lundgaard getting into the back of Rinus VeeKay, and he's been penalized 1 spot. He's got to move back and give that up. He's already given up just about every spot anyways with that incident. So Santino Ferrucci looking in really good shape, James, if they can make it another 5 laps here.
And it seems to be a bit of a big ask. 13 laps since they last pit. A few of those under caution, not many though, and as you say, 14, 15 on a stretch seems to be what these fuel tanks are able to hold. So I'm with you, T-Bell. I'm not sure they're going to be able to do it on one more.
Rossi is in, which means that Dixon will surely follow soon. We know that Dixon is the master of saving fuel, but he's been able to save a lap more than this man, Alexander Rossi. They both pitted on the same lap last time around.
It would take a ton of caution for Rossi to be able to make it here. So it probably will require another stop. And now you see Scott Dixon, even the master of fuel save, says, we gambled, it hasn't worked out. But you never know how much caution comes at the end.
Yeah, hasn't worked out yet.
Exactly. This race has been anything but predictable or on script. So anything could still happen in that final stint.
But that's what you want to see, guys. If you're Felix Rosenqvist, is Dixon having to pit, and then the drivers like Palou, Ferrucci that are 2 laps farther, they might be in a fuel save mode heavy to make it on one more stop. If Dixon had to pit at 18 to go, I think Palou's going to have to pit with 16 to go. That's a big stretch.
So this is it. Once Dixon stops, Palou, Ferrucci, McLaughlin, those guys, they will be leading this race, but they may not be able to make it on one more stop. So then you have to look back to the Rosenqvists of this world. as the guys who truly, legitimately could do this on one stop without a caution.
And you look at the gap from Palou to Rosenqvist is about 9 seconds. So if Palou has to save, it's going to be tough for him to defend, even if he has track position. This battle with Rinus VK continues, and we'll look for Scott Dixon to come down pit lane.
And he is on pit road, drives past our commentary box, and will roll into his position. Kevin Lee will be standing by to receive him.
Only A.J. Foyt has won more IndyCar races, and Scott Dixon might be the best ever at saving fuel, but this is a big ask. Seems highly unlikely without a short caution to be able to get home, but that's all that it would take, and then he's on level playing field with everyone else. Can they go a couple more laps, be able to get it done on just one final stop?
Every last tenth of a second of fuel that they can possibly get into that car. The Shell 100% renewable fuel. He's sent and on his way, 17 to go. Even for Scott Dixon, is that too much? Alex Palou leads, but it's a long way from a guarantee that he will win. We're back, and the drivers on the alternate strategy, almost all of them have taken their stop, but not Alex Palou. He does so now. Jack Harvey's waiting for him.
This is going to be an absolute mammoth stint, Will. Trying to save fuel at Road America can be so punishing for lap time. He hits his mark nice. They've got a set of brand new hard tyres ready for this final stint to the end. If there was a guy who we know can get it done in any conditions, it's Alex Palou.
Well, let's see where he comes out in relation to the guys he was fighting. I mean, he had a good gap from Santino Ferrucci, but there's Scott Dixon, who will also be having to try and save to the end, and Dixon gets out ahead of Palou.
Dixon gets ahead. It'll be Alexander Rossi, the next car behind. But like Jack said, 15 to go is long. Last year, 14 was really max range, and that was pre-hybrid. Car's now a little bit heavier, burns a little bit more fuel. And we ride on board thanks to PNC with Alex Palou trying to catch his teammate Scott Dixon.
Rosenqvist with a 4.5 second gap in the lead from Kyle Kirkwood. And our Pennzoil moment of the race involves Kyle Kirkwood, but not in the way that he would have liked. It was the spark that lit the fire of the insanity of this race.
Good setup here with Kyle Kirkwood leading, and Will Power trying to defend on Alex Palou. Palou making the pass on the outside as they come to the right-hander. Watch Will Power just flat try to outbrake Palou, outbreaks Kirkwood by accident. Kirkwood leaves the room, but it was Alex Palou making 2 passes in 1 corner.
And now we ride back on board the Siemens Andretti Global Machine of Kyle Kirkwood as he looks back at Pato O'Ward. Felix Rosenqvist 5 seconds up the road right now as Pato dives to pit lane for what will be his final stop.
14 to go. This is about perfect.
2-stage pit limiter here at Road America. 90 miles an hour in that first stage, then down to 45 right there. As the 5 crews got to go to work.
Importantly, though, Rosenqvist is able to go a lap longer, and Rosenqvist will be full push right now, trying to do a qualifying lap, essentially, a lap before I think he'll make his last stop.
Eilert takes his final stop as well behind him. And O'Ward comes out right in the middle of the pack.
Oh, this will be spicy with Colton Herta and Pato O'Ward going to turn 5. That'll be crazy. Kevin, what can you tell us here on Rosenqvist?
We're going to see the top 2 coming in this lap. Brian Herta just told Kyle Kirkwood Felix Rosenqvist was already set up. They've got a sticker set of softs for Rosenqvist, so they're still in play. No fuel save for either of those. By the way, Alexander Rossi was just told we're going to need a splash. Dixon is 1 lap better on fuel. There are 3 strategies in play right now.
And Herta's making the moves, puts it on Pato O'Ward.
Rosenqvist is in the danger zone now. If a caution were to come out, a wind would slip through his fingers. So Rosenqvist, Kirkwood, Marcus Armstrong all have to think about making that last stop, and that's exactly why they're coming in to cover.
Rosenqvist stops. Kirkwood should do the same. Armstrong behind them. All on that same strategy.
There's about 5 seconds on the racetrack between these 2 cars. We'll see what it is by the end of the outlap. That's what really matters. It's not just the time on pit lane, it's how quickly your driver gets up to speed and gets that outlap completed. The 66 down and away. 27 crew now goes to work. Use softs going on Kyle Kirkwood's machine.
Nice stop from MSR, nice stop from Andretti, but where do they come out in relation to all of their rivals on track?
Well, they'll come out behind Alex Palou, but ahead of Ferrucci. But now, fascinating, because Palou will have to save as Kirkwood blends out. Oh, that's the lap car of Connor Daly, I believe. McLaughlin, though, getting by. So now Palou has to save. Rosenqvist can push. Who's going to win this thing?
And Kirkwood has got a very fast teammate coming up behind him. We saw what that did for Pato O'Ward just 1 lap ago. Kirkwood will have to defend from Herta. Saturday, it's baseball night in America on Fox, where two of the league's best face off as Kyle Tucker leads the Cubs against Jose Altuve and the Astros, or the Phillies take on the Braves. Check local listings for the game in your area, Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox. Welcome back to the NTT INDYCAR Series live from Road America on Fox. There is Scott Dixon. Behind him his teammate Alex Palou. What's the strategy? Can Dixon make it? One man knows, and he's with Kevin Lee.
He may know. Let's see if he'll tell us. Mike Hull, the managing director, calls strategy for Dixon. He's the best ever at saving fuel. Can he go 17 laps here without a caution?
I think we're going to find out. You know, we'll probably stop at the 7-Eleven and buy a lottery ticket if it all works out. It's going to be really close for us.
Okay, so close. That's not necessarily a no. If anybody can do it, it's Dixon. And if he can't, maybe it's his teammate Palou in position.
It's not a yes, it's not a no. And when it's Dixon and it's not a no, that means it might be a yes.
Yeah, but one thing that Dixon can do, even if he has to make a splash at the end, is he can help his teammate Alex Palou, who is also not in a great fuel situation, by providing a draft. Even if Dixon is short, it'll help Palou save those precious gallons running in that dirty air. Doesn't help him on lap time, but it helps him get mileage. Meanwhile, Felix Rosenqvist will be on full push to catch Palou. Rosenqvist in great shape for his second career win.
We talk about full push. If Alex Palou is trying to save fuel, he's pushing pretty hard. Set the fastest lap of the race. 1 lap ago. We'll be back to Road America. Coming up next on Fox, NHRA Virginia Nationals. For now, though, we have 9 laps to go at Road America. These your race leaders, Scott Dixon and Alex Palou, but some disagreement, not just on pit lane, but up here in the box as to whether they are pushing, whether they are saving, and whether either of them can make it to the close of this race without another stop?
Well, let's try to get an answer here. Thanks to PNC Bank riding on board with Scott Dixon. He'll come to turn 14 and then go up the hill, the long straightaway. And when he gets to turn 1, we'll get an idea. Is he trying to do mad Dixon fuel saving, or are they just going for it? That sounds to me like no fuel save at all, James.
Yeah, it's not a ton, that's for sure. When we had that graphic up there, Pallou's push to pass number came up, and that's lower than it was last lap. So he's using little bits of push to pass, so we know that that takes a lot of fuel when you're using that button. So I'm leaning towards these guys are kind of pushing and doing what they can.
I mean, they're in an awkward situation because pitting, you're going to lose 38 seconds. That'll put you clearly out of the top 15 all the way down in about 21st position unless a yellow comes out to save them.
The lap times would usually give the indication to us. Rosenqvist, who we know will not need to stop again, is pushing to catch these guys and is doing low 1:47. Dixon and Palou are mid 1:47. It's only a couple of tenths of a second a lap, the difference between them. That doesn't sound like a save.
They're hoping for yellow. That's what they need at this point. And, you know, at this point of the race, when you're pushing like Rosenqvist, it's late in the race. Marbles offline, it's hot, drivers are starting to get fatigued. You know, and while we're talking about the heat, shout out to all the camera ops that we have around the racetrack, standing out there, dealing with that heat, all the crews up and down pit lane, the safety workers. It's a hot day out there. We got it nice up here in the booth, but it is a very hot day. And inside those race cars, it's 120 degrees, 130 degrees.
And frankly, it feels better racing than it does under caution. That's when the heat soak really sets in. 190 miles an hour around here, you do get some airflow. So as a driver, the worst part for me was the caution. That's where my core temperature was really shooting up, and those restarts, that's where I think the mistakes can really come in.
Okay, look, Dixon's pulling away from Palou right now. I think Palou might still be trying to do it because he was 2 laps to the good on Dixon, but Dixon has put the hammer down now.
Yeah, but Palou still, he pitted on lap 40, so that's a long stint to make it. But I think you're right. I think he's starting to save some gas as the lap time drops.
Dropped his pace. He's a second off the pace now, Palou, 48.5.
Keep pushing there. We believe the 20 car knows they're hosed, so they're just pushing hard. But we want to take advantage of them as soon as we can. Keep pushing here, bud.
Great information for Felix Rosenqvist. That's what you need as a driver right now, is what's the situation of the cars in front of me? What can I expect as I encounter them maybe for a pass? How hard are they going to defend? Felix Rosenqvist knows on that information, okay, Rossi's going to be desperate. He's not going to give me any help here as he's just trying to hang on, hoping for a miracle.
And these guys are running out of their push to pass as well. 27 seconds for Rosenqvist, 37 for Rossi out of the 200 seconds of allocation each driver started this race with.
And now the gap between Rosenqvist and Palou continues to close. It's right at about 4 seconds. With 7 to go, this could be really close at the finish.
I think Palou's really trying to make it work. He's getting help, like you say, a little bit of that draft off his teammate. I don't think Dixon's got a chance. With 2 more laps, I don't think he can do it. But Palou, I think, can.
Let's have a look at what his lap time is this time around. Because if it's another 48, mid-48s, then Palou is definitely having to save. Dixon's another 1:47. It's a low 47. Palou drops back into the 47s, though. They're both starting to push, but now Rosenqvist is very definitely in the picture. He needs to get past Rossi. But as we heard them say on the radio, he knows he's toast. He knows he's cooked, but he's going to keep pushing until he can push no more.
He's not cooked if a long caution came out and he was able to coast around to the end. And so that's what we'll be looking for as we look out the back of the Java House car here to Rosenqvist, who draws ever closer.
He is running out of laps, though, if he's going to put a real charge on Palou, if Palou is saving fuel. But what is Palou's teammate doing, Kev?
So they are very coy about what they're doing, just as simply Mike Hull told us. No communication in the last little while. This is 2 laps longer than we think anybody can go, but if anybody can, it is Scott Dixon. Meanwhile, his mom, Glennis, is here. First time we've seen her at the racetrack since this weekend last year, so maybe she can bring Dixon good luck to somehow coast home. Probably still needs a caution, it seems.
6 to go. As many questions as we've had all afternoon. This has been a crazy race at Road America. Louis Foster, the rookie, starting from pole. A tremendous battle at the start. Rasmussen making his way through the field. It was Lundgaard at the front who took over really control of this race. Ultimately, his afternoon came to naught, but then it was a battle between Kirkwood and the Penske's. The Penske's afternoon ultimately came to naught as first Power and then Newgarden spun and through a variation of different strategies, and this man, Scott Dixon, being the first driver to pit under the very first caution. Now we find ourselves in this situation. 2 Ganassi's lead. It's an ECR in third. All 3 of them, unless they get a caution, have no real expectation of making this on the fuel that they have.
Last lap, Alex Palou, a 47.7. Felix Rosenqvist, a 47.7. So Palou, I mean, is there a chance they told Palou, listen, just go? Is Palou in trouble too?
There's a chance of everything. Dixon hasn't really pulled out anymore, so that theory earlier might not have come to fruition. Guys, there's no point guessing at this point. Kevin said it. The 9 stands being coy, the 10 stands being coy. They don't want anybody knowing what they really have up their sleeve.
Rosenqvist has been fast all afternoon. He's been racy all afternoon. If he's putting in 147.7s at this stage of the race, that's because he's pushing and he's getting everything out of that car. But here's the thing, Palou's a 47.7 as well. So Palou must be pushing.
But the problem for Rosenqvist, who does have the fastest lap of the race today, is even at this distance, he's picking up dirty air from Alexander Rossi. So even if he's faster through the corners, it's tough for him to get much closer. He's got to really wait for Rossi to peel off and pit. Maybe Rosenqvist saves his tires here and then goes like heck once it gets clean air to try to close on Alex Palou. It'll be 4 to go at the line.
Wouldn't it be something if either one of these Ganassi drivers could pull it off? Wouldn't it be something if Alexander Rossi could bring home a podium, Kevin?
And good news for Felix Rosenqvist. Alexander Rossi is just about to get out of the way. He's coming in this time around. That also gives us some intel on Scott Dixon because Rossi pitted 1 lap earlier than Rossi. Can he somehow make it? The fuel code, by the way, just changed for Dixon. We don't know what it is, but something just changed.
Interesting stuff. Rossi is in and out of the way. Rosenqvist has now to push, to fight back, to take this advantage and to go after Palou and Dixon.
Here's the question. If Scott Dixon has to pit this lap with 3 to go, Palou should still be way short because he's only 2 laps to the good on his teammate in theory, but he's been drafting the whole time off Scott Dixon. I am fascinated to see what reality is when they come down the stretch here.
And as Palou is turning into 6, you could just see Rosenqvist. He's just outside the view of the screen. He's getting within striking distance. It's still at that 4-second range.
Kevin, what do you hear on the 9?
Dixon will not make it. He's coming in. I do not know for certain if it's this lap or not, but they know they need a splash and go. So Alex Palou is about to take over, but we don't know if he can make it.
I don't think he can. If Dixon has to pit right now for a splash, Palou's going to be in trouble. Someone else in trouble. Graham Rahal, excuse me, that's Devlin DiFrancesco and Christian Rasmussen as Pato Award makes a move.
Graham's in that mix as well to fight down in P18. So if Dixon can't make it and Palou was 2 laps better, that still leaves him 2 laps short.
That's what I've been saying.
If Rosenqvist right now sitting P3 with Ferrucci behind him and Kirkwood in 5th. That would be the new podium if and when these guys stop. But Dixon isn't stopping. Dixon's got another lap left in him.
Psych. There you go. Chip Ganassi watching on anxiously as his cars run 1st and 2nd. He doesn't look too stressed at the moment.
So now if Dixon pits this lap, that would tell us Palou would be able to make it. But Rosenqvist, how close can Rosenqvist get? That last lap, Rosenqvist 47.3, Palou 47.7.
But look, if these two are able to keep this kind of pace up, I say these two, really Palou at this point, knowing that Dixon's going to be coming in, having stopped 2 laps earlier, for Palou to keep up this kind of pace, because we know that Rosenqvist is 10 tenths, and he's only 3, 4, 5 tenths a lap quicker.
I agree with you. I think Palou's good at this point. Otherwise, he would be slowing up to make sure he protects his championship and at least finishes in the top 5.
Yeah, exact pitting at this point is going to bring you out somewhere in the early 20s.
Jack, what can you tell us about Alex Palou?
That team should consider also playing poker, because I think they would dominate at that as well. I tried to glean just a little info. As Kevin said a couple of times, they're being coy. My personal feeling, I think he's going to make it.
Wow. 3 to go, well, 2.5 really to go here at Road America. Can Scott Dixon make it? Can Alex Palou make it? Can Felix Rosenqvist catch either of them? Right now, Rosenqvist just doesn't have a pace advantage over these 2 leading cars, which by all measures should be saving fuel, and yet they're not.
And that's Rosenqvist that just came into view on the helicopter shot. It is an awfully big gap to try to pick up, as we understand. Scott Dixon, as expected, short and coming to pit lane for a splash and dash. This should mean that Palou can make it, because he was 2 laps to the good, and there's 2 laps at the line.
My word.
And he's been running around in Scott's draft. He's probably been making even better fuel mileage than the 9 Scott Dixon. 2 to go.
But look,
Rosenqvist has that gap down to 3.1. It was about 4 seconds a lap ago.
It was 4.5. It's now down to 3.1. 2 laps to go. Felix Rosenqvist, it is now or never for your 2nd career victory.
He was 8 tenths quicker that lap than Alex Palou. So he's got a shot. If he can get to that draft, he might have a chance, but how are they on push to pass? Palou still 117 seconds remaining to Rosenqvist 26.
We're right on board with Felix Rosenqvist, who, when he won here, was racing for Chip Ganassi. He has to pass the new Ganassi talisman, the championship leader, the man who was setting all the records at the start of the season. He has to catch him first. He has to pass him. Those 2 very, very different propositions. And what about Santino Ferrucci sitting there in 3rd? Kyle Kirkwood just about a second behind him.
Problem for Ferrucci is that he is in a weird place on fuel as well. He's 1 lap to the good of Dixon. Dixon already had to stop. So I don't know if Ferrucci's going to have to come in this lap, or if he's in mad fuel save to try to limp it across. That would put Kyle Kirkwood on the podium.
Well, Ferrucci's last lap was a 48.4. I would suggest he's saving a tiny little bit. But you know what? Palou, it seems, is stretching his legs over Rosenqvist. The gap has extended. It was 3.1, is now 3.3. How does he do this? How does he do this?
Well, there'll be lots of people around here raising a red Solo Cup to this guy. If he can hang on for 1 more lap, it'll be party mode in Elkhart Lake.
White flag means one thing. It is 1 lap to go until the Advanced Auto Parts checkered flag. And Alex Palou, as he has done on so many occasions this year, has a clear track ahead of him and 1 lap to go.
And if he does it, if he pulls off this last 3 miles of racetrack, it'll be his 6th win on the season, and we will still have only 2 winners over the first 9 IndyCar races this year. Hasn't happened since 1980. This guy, the other driver that's won 3 times so far this season. Just incredible.
And not just dominant from 2 drivers, dominant from 1 engine manufacturer, Honda, winning all 9 races. If Palou can hang on, we haven't seen that for a very long time either.
What a drive it has been. What a strategy he has employed, has his team employed today.
And think about how many crazy moments Palou's been through mid-pack on restarts with Will Power and Kyle Kirkwood earlier, that moment of the race that we showed you. Always figuring out how to make high percentage decisions, protecting his equipment, delivering exactly what his team needs.
It's been 50 years since a driver won 6 of the first 9 races. That was 1975. The driver was A.J. Foyt. We talk about the hangover after the Indy 500, which he won with aplomb. Did he disappear? Did we forget about him? You bet we didn't. Alex Palou, championship leader, wins again. It's 6 from 9 in 2025.
Looks like Santino Ferrucci just hung on to take third. That's a brilliant result for AJ Foyt Racing. Great mileage on that final stint. But up front, red cups in the air.
Ferrucci out of gas in turn 1. He just made it
boy.
On fumes. What an impressive run there, as you say, T-Bell. He had that road course pole at Portland last year, backing it up now. Had the podium in Detroit on the street circuit.
That's 4 top 5s in a row. 4 5?
Yeah. Ferrucci up to 9th in points with that result.
And guys, we've got to say, 3 drivers in the top 3 positions, 3 totally different strategies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Everybody out of fuel.
That is how marginal it is here. We talk about how narrow the windows are for fuel, and because the lap is so long, you need so much gas to get around the cool-down lap. Palou's doing a cool-down lap.
And what about, you want a crazy race result, guys. Kirkwood's 4th, okay? Armstrong's 5th. Kiffin Simpson, another top 10 and 6th. David Malukas, who was in the gravel. Turn 1, lap 1. Comes home 7th. Nolan Siegler's 8th. Scott Dixon somehow is 9th. Rinus VeeKay is 10th. Louis Foster with his career best finish in 11th. McLaughlin, Rossi, Power. Wow, what a day. Wild. Absolutely wild. Rosenquist up 10. Ferrucci up 15. Simpson up 17. Dixon was 16, even in 9th.
Yeah, these guys don't want a cool-down lap because there's nothing cool about a cool-down lap today. The temperature's absolutely brutal out there. The last thing you want to do is get stuck on track and have a long time waiting as Ferrucci celebrates a terrific result.
He had to work for it, that's for sure.
You think that's 2 podiums in the month for Santino Ferrucci. Really coming of age. We know he goes well on ovals. But that's 1 podium on a street track, 1 podium on a road course. Really showing his mettle. Kirkwood with good points again. But again, it's that guy, Alex Palou. Always finds a way. The May hangover's over now. That's it. Put June in the bin. Now we're off into July. And Alex Palou, it seems, is back with a vengeance.
Graham Rahal getting a water from a fan. Nice toss over the fence and a thumbs up. That's pretty cool.
I thought he deserved more than a P20 today, I gotta say. I was impressed with Graham today. Santino needs some water as well.
The tap went off. He wanted to get it before all the water was gone. He said, throw me a beer. Look at that.
It is.
Woo! Little post-race hydration there. He's got to make it back. He's got champagne waiting for him at the podium.
Yeah, but that's got to taste so good.
Oh, absolutely.
You're in Wisconsin. You're on the podium.
Life's good.
It is 131 degrees on the racetrack, 96 degrees outside.
Sponsorship incoming for Santino Ferrucci at Mid-Ohio. But there's your race winner into victory lane. Celebrations with the red Solo Cup. Alex Palou is back as if he ever left.
Yeah! Let's go!
Great job, Barry.
Way to go, way to go, way to go.
Well, it's a return to form and a return to top form for Alex Palou. But guys, once again, no Penske's in the top 10. The difference in seasons for Ganassi and Penske is marked in 2025.
Well, just shocking, really, at the struggles that continue as Chip Ganassi makes yet another cruise to victory lane. Stops to gives a thumbs up there to Kyle Kirkwood and Marcus Armstrong. But for Ganassi, it's just everything is clicking this season, especially for this guy. Barry Wanzer, a strategist, doing a brilliant job again. And Jack, we all got to wonder, how did they do it?
I want to find out. Alex Palou, 6th win of the season. Your race had everything. Tell us how you guys did it today.
Oh, I don't know, man. It was a crazy race. It was a crazy race for us. At moments, I thought we were losing a ton of positions, and we were making. It was a tough race for everybody. But yeah, kudos to the team for the amazing strategy, and Honda, man. HRC being able to give us the fuel mileage we needed at the end to make it, and then solo cups. It was fun. It's a fun race, so couldn't be happier at the moment.
Are we going to see a good party with these red solo cups tonight?
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure we're going to have some fun, and everybody should.
Congratulations, champ. Great job.
Thank you.
My God, you're a terrible singer.
Back to the front, and I think we need to hear some radio. Barry Wanzer telling Alex Palou he's a terrible singer. We'll try and find that in commercial break. Let's take a look at the Advanced Auto Parts checkered flag moment, and Alex Palou, 6 from 9, the first time since 1975 that has happened in an IndyCar series, a reflection of how rare this kind of performance is and how good this kind of a performance is. A word though for Felix Rosenqvist, just 2 seconds off what would have been his second NTT IndyCar Series win. Let's hear from him.
It's the first podium with Meyer Shank for Felix Rosenqvist. Strong drive. What was it like pushing to finish there?
It was great. It was going back and forth there. It was like commerce and goers through the race. We had great speed, though. We knew that after I messed up in qualifying, started 12, had really good pace. Sirius XM Honda was just phenomenal. And yeah, I think we deserved it. We had kind of bad luck the last 2 races. Haven't really had a good go. But yeah, good comeback now. It's been a while since I've been on the podium. I had to ask on the radio where to park the car. So it's a good thing. I feel like we're yeah, finally, you know, we got what we deserved this year, and hopefully more to come this year.
First runner-up since late in 23. Felix Rosenqvist trying to make this more of a habit.
The celebration has already started for Santino Ferrucci. An incredible run for you, and you could not have cut it any closer on fuel. Tell us about managing that fuel those last couple laps.
Man, you know, all I can think about to myself was we're doing this for Marlene, right? And, you know, they were counting down the laps, and I told Mike, listen, I got to focus because this is getting stressful. And, you know, he let me drive. Honestly, crew did an amazing job, awesome job on stops. I stalled it too, so, you know, even with the stall coming back and finishing the way we did was pretty amazing. And, you know, like I said, this one goes to Marlene. So she was riding with us today. I'm very proud, and yeah, this one tastes a little bit sweeter.
Just how amazing is this team right now? That's 4 top 5s in a row.
And 2 podiums, so yeah, no, we're performing. We're back to where we were at the end of last year. I feel it. I got to get my qualifying performance up, but till then, I like padding my points for passing.
The celebration has started. Shotgunning a beer with the fans down by turn 1, where the car sat because they cut it that close on fuel, guys.
Definitely somebody to have in your fantasy IndyCar team. Huge bonus points every week for Santino Ferrucci. Alex Palou, your winner from Felix Rosenqvist. Santino Ferrucci third. Then it's Carl Kirkwood and Marcus Armstrong. Kiffin Simpson, another brilliant result from him as he continues to improve his craft. And it's Maluka, Siegel, Dixon and VK. These are positions from 11 down to 20.
Yeah, Louis Foster comes back from some difficult circumstances there mid-race to finish 11th, but I'm sure he'll be disappointed. How about Scott McLaughlin? Will Power, 2 fast Team Penske cars that once again can't even get into the top 10 despite being very fast.
Big names far back, Ericsson, Lundgaard, and Josef Newgarden all in the 20s. Not the day any of these drivers wanted. As we take a look now at where the championship stands after 9 races.
Palou extends the advantage, but it's Kirkwood who moves up ahead of Pato O'Ward into second in the championship. Felix Rosenqvist, the strong start to the season continues. Level on points with Scott Dixon. There's a P4 for him. Lundgaard drops to 6th. Power and McLaughlin still sit in the top 10, but look at Ferrucci jumping up there into the top 10. Magnificent from him. Next up on Fox, it is the NHRA from Virginia Nationals. And the next IndyCar race for us is the Honda Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio, Sunday, July 6th. What a great month of June this has been. What a fantastic weekend at Road America. I want to thank James Hinchcliffe and Townsend Bell. I want to thank, of course, Georgia and Jack and Kevin and all of you for watching. It has been a crazy and tumultuous race at one of the greatest racing circuits on the face of the earth. Alex Palou, though, is back to winning ways. 6 of the first 9 have gone to the Spaniard, your championship leader and your reigning champion. We'll see you in Mid-Ohio.
The official IndyCar app, powered by NTT Data, puts the pulse-pounding action of IndyCar right at your fingertips. Never miss a lap with the latest news, highlights, and live race coverage. Track every move with real-time leaderboards, interactive maps, onboard cameras, and driver radio. Your all-access pass to every race, every moment, every day. Download the official IndyCar app now.